Greetings, YouTube. I frequently discuss civil liberties and equality here on my channel, and because of that, I frequently discuss feminism because I am a feminist. And in the discussion of these different topics, I also frequently encounter people that are opposed to feminism, and occasionally full-blown members of the men's rights activist group, or as I often refer to them as the men's rights army, because they tend to have a very monolithic view of the universe. Now, I've never taken a course on feminism. I am not basing my views of feminism on anything I was told to believe. My views on feminism are based on my observations of the world around me and my own personal readings. Some of them have been of feminist material. Most of them have been in things that have led me to understand sympathy, empathy, and compassion, and to see the world without the blinders that I've noticed that a lot of the members from the men's rights movement seem to have. And there are numerous topics that come up every time I discuss these different subjects, and they are used like hammer blows. They're supposed to knock me down. They're supposed to show me how utterly and absolutely intellectually bankrupt the feminist movement is, when of course all it does is show me the sexism and misogyny of the commenter. But someone recently wrote something, something I encountered, I should say. I encountered this the other day. And I think it really sums up well what I have been trying to say in a number of different manners. And it says it more eloquently than I've been able to say. And this is this is a long title, "If I Admit That Hating Men is a Thing, Will You Stop Turning It into a Self-Fulfilling Prophecy?" by Lindy West. So this is on a blog post that I'm not sure where it came from. I have no idea if this is the writing of the person's blog or if it's just something that was reposted. Regardless, it's where I've encountered the text in a clear form, and I can link to it. So I'm going to taking a moment here to read this text. A list of men's rights issues that feminism is already working on. Feminists do not want you to lose custody of your children. The assumption that women are naturally better caregivers is part of patriarchy. Feminists do not like commercials in which bumbling dads mess up laundry and competent wives have to bustle in and fix it. The assumption that women are naturally better housekeepers is part of patriarchy. Feminists do not want you to make alimony payments. Alimony is set up to combat the fact that women have been historically expected to prioritize domestic duties over professional goals, thus minimizing their earning potential if their traditional marriages end. The assumption that wives should make babies instead of money is part of patriarchy. Feminists do not want anyone to get raped in prison. Feminism and permissiveness and jokes about prison rape are part of rape culture, which is part of patriarchy. Feminists do not want anyone to be falsely accused of rape. False rape accusations discredit rape victims, which reinforces rape culture, which is part of patriarchy. Feminists do not want you to be lonely and do not hate nice guys. The idea that certain people are inherently more valuable than other people because of their superficial physical attributes is part of patriarchy. Feminists do not want you to have to pay for dinner. We want the opportunity to achieve financial success on par with men in any field we choose and are qualified for. And the fact that we are currently don't as part of the patriarchy. The idea that men should coddle and provide for women and or purchase their affections in romantic context is condescending and damaging and part of patriarchy. Feminists do not want you to be maimed or killed in industrial accidents or total toil in coal mines while we do not do cushy secretarial work in various yarn-themed activities. The fact that women have long been shut out of the dangerous industrial jobs, by men by the way, is part of patriarchy. Feminists do not want you to commit suicide. Any pressure and expectations that lower the quality of life of any gender are part of patriarchy. The fact that depression is characterized as an effeminate weakness, making men less likely to seek treatment, is part of patriarchy. I suffer from depression. It isn't anything having to do with sex, gender, or orientation. Feminists do not want you to be viewed with suspicion when you take your children to the park. Men frequently insist that this is a serious issue, so I will take them on their word. The assumption that men are insatiable sexual animals, combined with the idea that it is unnatural for men to care for children, is part of patriarchy. Feminists do not want you to be drafted and then die in a war while we stay home and iron stuff. The idea that women are too weak to fight or too delicate to function in a military setting is part of patriarchy. Feminists do not want women to escape prosecution on legitimate domestic violence charges, nor do we want men to be ridiculed for being raped or abused. The idea that women are naturally gentle and compliant and that victimhood is inherently feminine is part of patriarchy. Feminists hate patriarchy. We do not hate you. If you really care about these issues as passionately as you say you do, then you should be thanking feminists, because feminism is a social movement actively dedicated to dismantling every single one of them. The fact that you blame feminists, your allies, for problems against which they have been struggling for decades suggests that supporting men isn't nearly as important as you resenting women. We care about your problems a lot. Could you try caring about ours? Obviously, this is written from a female perspective, but that's okay. I'm not too worried about sexual and gender roles, frankly. And it really does an apt job of summing up many of the things I've been trying to say myself. Because I have encountered people say every single one of these things to me on more than one occasion. That these issues are why feminism is wrong. And I've tried to point out, without any success, that these are issues that feminists have been working on for 100 years. And the men's right movement takes these issues, turns them on their heads, and for some immense, catastrophic, amazing capacity of cognitive dissonance, take reality, turn it around, and try to use it as a weapon against their own allies. Because if you care about these issues, feminism has been in the trenches for 100 years on them. These are not new. These did not just pop up in the last 10 or 15 years as the men's right movement got off the ground. The men's rights movement is about privilege distress. Period. They have legitimate issues, and those legitimate issues are drowned out by the privilege distress. If they concentrated on those issues, they would admit that they are the allies of feminists. They would admit that they are feminists. But they're wrapped up in that privilege distress. That somehow, as women achieve these goals that would benefit them, that their status is lowered as women's status is raised. And it's not what's happening. The men's status doesn't ever have to change. It's just that eventually women will have the same status. And that really and truly and profoundly terrifies some men. And I'm not really sure why. It's long been my belief that at the base of every single problem dealing with interactions between human beings is fear. I'm not sure what the fear is here at the core of the men's rights movements. But it'd be interesting to find out. So, these are my thoughts on the day on feminism. I'm intrigued to hear what you have to say in return. Do you agree with this? Do you have other things you'd like to add? I'd like cogent comments, pertinent comments. If you're going to just spew bile at me, I'm just going to delete the comment. So don't bother. If you're going to make a legitimate point, and you're going to do it in a civilized manner, then the comment will stand, and I may even reply. So I'm intrigued in hearing what people to say, and hopefully they'll say it with civility.